Good, happy Friday morning, June 12, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, 7 new deaths attributed to COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 34 cases announced. All 7 deaths connected to long-term care facilities, and state officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and grandfather George decided.
Thank you. Today we are announcing 34 new cases of COVID-19 for a total of 5,209. We have 4 new hospitalizations for a total of 504 and 7 new deaths for a total of 308. All 7 of those deaths were associated with a long-term care facility. Our testing totals look like we've tested about 97,000 people in the state of New Hampshire. For a long-term care update, we are announcing 1 new facility outbreak, which is Bedford Hills Center and Genesis facility. 9 residents testing positive, 11 staff testing positive for a total of 20. We are announcing 1 outbreak that has closed, which is the Kimmy Nichols Center, and that closed on 6/10/20. Thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know information. Let's take a look at that right now. And here's a look at that COVID-19 in New Hampshire information for all of you right now. There are 5,209 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 2,016,630 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 308 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 504 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire, and 113,652 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. Now let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire right here, where current cases of COVID-19 are. Nashua, 65. Let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire right here, where total cases of COVID-19 are. Nashua, 535. And now let's take a look at these 3 charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations. And in the red are the deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here, current cases. In the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalizations. And let's take a look at this chart here, total cases. In the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, total hospitalizations. In the red, deaths, and in the blue, recovered. And now let's take a look at this chart here, age group of cases. Female and male of cases, and risk information. And now let's take a look at these charts here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And again, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Stay at home order to expire next week. Gyms, pools, bowling alleys set to reopen. Governor urges Granite Staters to continue social distancing under safer at home advisory. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Let's pray.
As we all hunker down in these tough times, there's still work to be done. And Mahindra is...
It's likely the most significant change in New Hampshire since businesses were closed back in March. On Monday, New Hampshire's stay-at-home order will expire.
This removes the social gathering limitation of 10 people or less. It removes that limitation.
And by the end of the month, all businesses will be allowed to reopen. As has been the case all along, Governor Sununu says his decision is driven by data.
Our numbers continue to drop in New Hampshire. That's a great sign. I think we want to keep encouraging everyone to wear their masks when out in public and they can't socially distance. It really does make a difference.
On Monday, gyms can reopen at 50% capacity. Athletic facilities and bowling alleys can open, and socially distant road races will be allowed.
Tourist trains, organized motorcycle rides, racetracks, small racetracks that is, will be able to reopen as part of the newly revamped outdoor attractions guidance.
2 weeks after that, on June 29th, indoor movie theaters, amusement parks, and performing arts centers will reopen.
We have capacity in our healthcare system. We have the beds and the ventilators for those who need the most serious health considerations when they need it.
Sununu feels optimistic about the summer, but again is cautioning that numbers could spike in September or October.
A lot of these guidelines will remain in place for quite some time, and so this is, again, people might be tired of hearing the term, the new normal, but it is the new normal, at least for the time being.
Some other areas allowed to reopen on Monday as well include libraries, museums, and funeral homes, all of them, of course, with restrictions and guidelines in place. Reporting live in Concord, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire businesses say hiring is a challenge as reopening begins. Drive customer fit in Salem finding challenges. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Monica Hernandez.
Some work can't stop because our communities need you, which is why we're working to keep you working.
They're wiping down equipment and checking temperatures at the door. Drive Custom Fit in Salem is making sure the gym is safe.
At no point in time do you come to Drive and ever touch a weight or piece of equipment that has not been sanitized.
Co-owner Jake Bossu says they need more employees than ever to keep up with the new protocols. Smaller class sizes means more trainers, and they're nearly quadrupling the maintenance staff.
Maintenance goes in teams of 2, and they sanitize every hour, every classroom, every piece of equipment.
But hiring has been a challenge.
The pandemic has, put many people in positions where they're unable to come to work, and whether they're doing homeschooling or caring for an individual that has COVID in the household.
Bossi says some are making just as much with expanded federal unemployment benefits as they would if they went back to work. But he believes most are opting not to go back just yet for the right reasons.
It's always a challenge, Monica, to hire. It's always a challenge to find the right resources. This does just add another layer to that challenge.
Bossi says they'll keep working to fill positions. He's just happy the gym is back open.
Words can't really describe the feeling that you have when you see it all come back together again.
Monica Hernandez, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Wilton Group brings Santa to daycare center. Group has helped with community needs throughout the pandemic. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Some work can't stop because our communities need you, which is why we're working to keep you working.
Christmas came early in Wilton on Thursday as Santa Claus delivered gifts to Tumbleweeds Daycare. Santa and some elves, along with the gifts, rode on a fire truck. It was organized by Wilton Cares and its community response to COVID-19. An initiative started to help with food insecurity in town.
It started as one thing and it continued to change as the community's needs changed and people encouraged us to do different things.
What began with a women's group grew to more than 70 volunteers. The gifts were meant to show appreciation for the folks at Tumbleweeds, the only daycare center in town to stay open throughout the pandemic, caring for children of essential workers.
The community has been amazing, and this is huge. We couldn't have asked for anything better than this. This means a lot. There's a lot of appreciation for the support and the acknowledgement that we received today.
Wilton Cares has received donations from more than 100 people, all in Wilton. They've delivered about 670 meals, close to 200 thank you baskets to healthcare workers and first responders, and even organized the making and delivery of more than 1,000 protective masks.
Well, I think it gives us, probably falsely, but a little sense of control over the situation, that we can help our neighbors. It's also just been really nice to work together with other people at a time that's been kind of isolating and lonely on something for the better good of our community.
The group says they're waiting for the stay-at-home order in the state to be lifted, but even when it is, they will still be available to help those in town that need it. Wilton Cares is this week's hometown hero. In Wilton, I'm Jason King, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Good story there. Vera's Choice 2020 Best Sandwiches. Where are the best sandwiches in New Hampshire? Let's find out right now.
Communities need you, which is why we're working to keep you working.
Okay, there you go. Oh, now we know where the best sandwiches are in New Hampshire. So if you are craving sandwich for lunch, go on a sandwich road trip. Dow futures bounce 600 points higher as Wall Street tries to recover from its worst day since March. U.S. stock futures rebound Friday morning as a surge in coronavirus cases in many states sent equality prices plunging a day earlier. Jacksonville to host 2020 Republican National Convention. Let's take a listen to that video from First Coast News.
Well, it has been the talk all over town this week, and now it is official. The Republican National Committee is moving the grand finale, the celebration part of its political convention, here to Jacksonville in August. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeannie Blaylock. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It is a hotly debated topic, especially with the pandemic. We have all your sides covered tonight in our team coverage, and there has been so much push and pull between President Trump and North Carolina's governor that the RNC celebration will now officially be held here at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in downtown Jacksonville. Now, this announcement was made just hours ago by the committee chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel. She says the RNC, quote, looks forward to bringing this great celebration and economic boom to the Sunshine State in just a few short months. But that's the catch. The convention is a bit over 2 months away, and host cities usually spend up to 2 years preparing for the event. Duval GOP Chairman Dean Black said earlier this week that Jacksonville can pull off the convention even with the shorter time frame.
We are electrified. The Republican Party of Duval County has said all along that Jacksonville is the single best city in America to host the RNC convention, and we are thrilled to hear that RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel and the President agree.
The business of the convention will still be held in Charlotte, and it's already planned that it will be smaller and scaled down. But details on what the celebration will look like here in Jacksonville still up in the air. The details are expected to be released by the RNC within the coming weeks. We will tell you a lot more as we learn, but it is brand new, just breaking news tonight. And as almost as soon as that announcement was made, the mayor's office tweeted out this video inviting the world to come to Jacksonville.
If you think you know Jacksonville, think again. We've got football, baseball, even hockey, world-class arts, culture, shopping, dining, beaches, breweries, and nightlife that'll change your life.
As you can see, the video touting some of the great things the First Coast has to offer. Also, in a statement tonight from the mayor said a team of city officials have secured more than 10,000 hotel rooms and have security lined up to bring an economic impact of more than $100 million to the city, and will collaborate with local, state, and federal enforcement to ensure that we host a safe and secure event. Those words from the mayor's office tonight. Heather, over to you now.
Well, Jeannie, the last time that Florida hosted a Republican National Convention was in Tampa in 2012. And at that time, Jacksonville Mayor Lenny Curry was the chairman of the Florida Republican Party. Well, tonight I had a chance to speak with the current Florida chair of the Republican Party. His name is Joe Gruters, and he told me that he is expecting tens of thousands of people to come to Jacksonville for this event, and which is 74 days to go until the RNC comes to Jacksonville. He told me that they will be prepared.
What you're going to see a lot of testing, both prior to the event, during the event, screening, a lot of checks to make sure everybody is healthy, so we can ensure a safe and secure and successful event. But listen, nobody wants to put anybody in jeopardy, but what we also want to do is we want to make sure that we let people know across the country that Florida is open for business.
And here is what the Duval County Democratic Chair, Terry Rizzo, had to say tonight. In part, she said she is deeply concerned that the move was because the president wanted to give a speech to a crowd of people not social distancing. Her statement went on to say that given his previous public events, likely not wearing masks. Those are safety protocols set forth by his own administration's public health experts to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
We're also hearing from former Jacksonville Mayor John Delaney. I asked him for his reaction tonight, and he says, quote, a large event is good for Jacksonville, setting aside the coronavirus. My assumption is that healthcare guidelines will be followed. Due to the current political environment and the fact that it is Donald Trump, there will be protests. He says if nobody gets hurt and no property is damaged, he does support protests as part of our democracy.
And meanwhile, Jeannie, there are thousands of people who are pleading with local leaders to keep the RNC out of Jacksonville. In fact, there's a petition going around. It's called Keep Republican National Convention Out of Jacksonville. It's urging city leaders to rethink this decision. And I just checked, almost 15,000 people have signed it.
Worry is the coronavirus, as we've been talking about tonight, and I've been speaking with the former mayor of Tampa, Bob Buckhorn. He was mayor in 2012 when Tampa had the Republican National Convention there in Tampa. Buckhorn says he understands the mayor of Jacksonville wants an economic boost and a show of loyalty to his party, but he's worried about the virus.
This is not a partisan issue. This is an issue about the safety of your residents, the safety of the visitors that will come to your community. This is a virus unlike anything that we have dealt with. Yes, Florida has done better than other states, but it is still out there, and it is contagious. The virus that's running rampant through this country, for which there is no vaccine, you have a universe of folks that will be there that may have underlying health conditions. It will spread not only within that group, but will spread to the vendors and the people that interact with them while they are in Jacksonville. That is a formula for disaster.
Now, according to the Associated Press today, cases of the virus are rising in 21 states right now. In Texas, for example, more people are hospitalized from COVID than ever before in this pandemic. One key reason some big cities like Tampa told the RNC no, they don't want the RNC to come to their city. So how did Jacksonville wind up as the top pick? I asked our senior political editor at NBC, Mark Murray.
Number one, your state, Florida, has a Republican governor. Number two, Jacksonville has a Republican mayor. And I think those two factors, given the coronavirus situation in the country that is really discouraging many big cities and others from wanting to have 15, 20,000 people packed indoors for a big event, I do think that gives the president the flexibility and the leeway to have the event he wants. He wants a very big crowd.
So, Heather, a lot of debate, and that is just the beginning of the talk about this huge event coming to Jacksonville, August 24th through August 27th.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that is it for this Friday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everyone. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye.